Welcome back to one of the old and forgotten legacy top tier beasts, the Hunter F.1, which is now basically the opposite. This thing used to be an absolute menace with match presence due to its 30mm, nose authority, high speed acceleration, the retention, and just the top speed in general. If you played this thing in 2017, you know that it was virtually uncatchable and virtually unkillable if you played it right. Now the CL Mark V and the MiG-17 had a little bit of a leg up in terms of top speed, however the MiG-17 didn't have the high speed performance to really keep up at all. The CL Mark V however did, and it really ran your ass down, although with a very minute difference in speed, but eventually you couldn't really do anything against it. Now with the new power creep, the CL Mark V is one of the lesser planes to worry about, and virtually everything just runs strange on you. When you are able to run down a Hunter, especially if you have more acceleration to boot, it becomes borderline useless, because well, it has very good nose authority at high speed. The second you go into a defensive posture with actual maneuvers, you know that the Hunter basically turns into a heap of shit. It is not very maneuverable and sustained. While the retention is okay, the turning circle is so wide that even your model fits inside of it. So overall, the power creep made this thing pretty bad. However, you still have the 430mm with 600 rounds. You still have the nose authority, so if you are left uncontested, you can still run in and just kind of frag the entire enemy team. Just be very wary of your positioning. If you get people on your 6 and they do want to kill you, they are probably going to succeed in running your ass back to the hangar. And then there is one more thing that changed a lot on this plane, and it's missiles. And it doesn't matter if it's an AIM-9B, if it's an AIM-9E or an AIM-9J. It doesn't really matter with this thing. The issue is that the Hunter was all about flying in a perfect straight line and using your high speed acceleration and your retention. When people start slinging missiles at you, you are forced to dodge them. And now the minute difference in speed is basically negated because you just bled it all away. Now the good news is that most planes catch you anyway nowadays regardless, so this doesn't really hamper you too much. But dodging missiles when you're going below 900 kilometers an hour in this thing is actually kind of a hassle. For the gameplay in the background is gonna be actually kind of similar to the 190A8 video that I made the other day, where you just wanna frag out and just kill as many people as quickly as you can. You're not really worried about the 1v1s, you're not worried about the singular guy that's in the corner of the map. You want to go in and you just want to hose down as many people as you can before you eventually probably die. And you want to get the most amount of damage in before this occurs, and if you get like 3 to 4 to 5 kills at the very start, there's a very big likelihood that your team will win the match for you. Now very often of course your team is going to be a bunch of troglodytes and therefore are not gonna help you out despite having 5 people more than them. But you know, that is just the name of the game. You can't win them all. This thing is essentially the polar opposite to a plane like the CL Mark VI, which I will cover this Friday. So if you have been waiting for that, and I know you are probably watching this, it will come very soon. If it's not this Friday, it will be this Monday, depends on how busy I get with work. For the first frag match, we go straight in, we find high contested waters, we see an A4E and we see an F86. Of course I go for the F86, higher priority as well as behind the A4. If I went for the A4, I probably would have gotten him right on my ass. And he's gonna take quite a while to get off my ass again, so I want to pressure him instead. We take a shot at him, we drain him of some energy, we drain his balls, and we go into this slight climb. And this is what it used to be extremely good at. And in a matchmaker like this, it still works. Unfortunately, it doesn't occur all too often. With the F86, I merged with him, I ran his ass down at the start, he had to do a full 180, he lost a lot of energy, and I'm doing this decently, actually pretty steep, shallow spiral, I guess we can call it, and he's never gonna catch me here. If he goes up for me, he dies. If he doesn't, I'm free to do whatever I want. He does kind of both at the same time, and he gives me a lot of room to actually drop right down right this instant. Now I was expecting one of my teammates to come up and swoop him up, but we're actually somewhat alone on this side of the map, and because of the energy that I have and the energy that he lacks, completely drained balls, all we need to do is just put it into a loop, and you can tell that I'm trying to position my plane behind him, and when he dives out, he dies, and if he tries to pitch up again, he also dies. And again, he does kind of both at the same time. I have a friendly coming in, but just before he nicks my kill, we send him straight to Narnia. And then we dive into the A4E horde that you will run into very often if you get down-tiered whatsoever. We go head on, he dodges, we do the same thing, and at this point he's way too slow to do anything, so we just hose him down, and we get kill number 4. We then turn around, get the other A4, and they're all just slow as balls. These planes drain their own balls. I don't really have to do anything for them to be that slow. We get kill number 5, and then we pitch on over towards the A32A. He is definitely going to come head on with us. We severe him, and then we just pitch down into the F86A5. And as my rounds are on the way and actually hits him, as you can tell right there, Mackerel one-shots him with a singular 50 cal. Thank you, Gaijin. Very cool. And now here for a slightly more hard fought match. We are fully up-tiered. We have an AV8 coming in, as well as Su-25s on the horizon. So here I can do two things. I need to turn around in case the AV8 turns into me. I'm doing that right here. But I also need to turn away from the Su-25 because he has R60 amps. You want to keep track of how many missiles they fire, because we of course do not have countermeasures. First missile is out, but he then gets set on fire by Mackerel. And then there's another Su-25 right behind him, and he just shot one missile. So we do want to be careful about him. I don't want to get right near him, but I also want to bait a missile out. The F3H comes in, not really a threat. He is faster than us, and he does counter our playstyle almost perfectly. If he gets directly on my 6, there's very little I can do. But he's on the other side of the map, he's chasing Mackerel up, and the second the F3H goes into any type of maneuver, he's essentially dead in the water. AV8 comes back, and I come back as well. F3H is my first priority here because he's on Mackerel 6, and he's just gonna be an extremely easy kill. He is gonna be way too slow, he's trying to shoot him down, he's not paying attention, and I really love fuel explosions, so thank you very much. Then on the left over there we have an F104, and I do want to kill him now. He's actually busy with someone else. However, he does come head on. I'm in a little bit of a disadvantage, and I just whiffed the shot completely. I should have killed him there, but you know, major skill issue. Now what do we do from here? Because we don't really have anyone around. We have an F104 in the area, and I do want to kill that thing because he is going to make our life living hell. But at the same time, I need to actually start fragging out at this point. Our team is down quite substantially, and there is just no one on this side of the map. And then we get ran down by a MiG-19. And the MiG-19 is essentially the perfect counter to this plane. But to be honest, a lot of those supersonics are, but the MiG-19 can actually full send it against you as well. And there's very little you can do if he doesn't make any glaring mistakes. If he has throttle management, or if he just full webs the entire time and goes into a loop, I really can't do anything, and here you're gonna see the extent of how helpless I actually am. Now he is playing quite passively, he doesn't want to fight me whatsoever, and because of that I'm actually free to just kind of rope him around and start going for other guys. I have an F3H in front of us, and I feel like I can actually kill him, because I can rope this guy all around the map, but that doesn't mean I get anything done, and eventually he will kill me. So if I get him on my 6, if he starts being passive, I'd rather just get more work done in the meantime, if it means that we actually end up winning the game. F3H in front, he's not going particularly quick, and I am going as fast as I can basically in this kind of climb. We run him down, he starts going defensive, and just as I lay down a fat burst, he kind of rolls out of the way as I also miss-aim my shots. We then try to re-peek it kind of, but he rolls into the right direction, and I'm not able to get the shot off. He turns around here, and he's gonna bleed a lot of energy doing that. Keep looking around, make sure that we don't get jumped, and I'm actually gonna pressure him right here and now. I have him by the balls. He's going pretty slow, I'm on his 6, and I just want to kill him as quick as I can. Now I am left uncontested. He starts flopping around in front of us. We kind of just hold the trigger down, and eventually one of the 30 mils flies directly into his wingtip and seals it clean off. And here we have the MiG-19 that is still doing basically nothing. We pitch into him. We want to spike him right here in case he doesn't see us. He does. He goes horizontal. He dives underneath me. And there goes my opportunity. He goes head on with Mackerel, and now he can simply just run away. And MiG-19s in this plane are extremely annoying to deal with, as I just clarified. But I do want to pressure him for a little bit because I am very slow right now. I want him to run away from us so I can build up my speed. I don't want to turn around right now and engage the guys on our left, because if this guy has the same idea, I just die. But he just kind of keeps flying away. At a certain point we have enough energy to actually turn back in, and the Sagittario on my 6 is actually even more scary, so I'd rather just turn around and go head on with him. Long range shots, he dodges, I dodge, nothing really happens, but I notice that he's actually pretty slow, so I'm gonna be relatively aggressive. Now normally with a Sagittario you do not want to be this aggressive, but in the stage that we have right here, I can actually pressure him a little bit. The MiG-19 and the Su-7 are both going vertical over there, so we are being left alone. And this is not a fight that I will probably win, even in the long run. While I have him by the balls, I'm still going to have a very hard time actually hitting this guy. So for now, I'm just going to keep this guy slow. And if I don't kill him, I should be able to at least keep him locked in with me until a teammate licks him up. We have a MiG-19 and Su-7 coming in now. MiG-19 goes down and the Su-7 is coming in full speed ahead. So I do want to kind of keep an eye on him because I don't want to go for the Sagittario and then get sideswiped. Luckily for us, that's what happens to him. He's so busy looking at mackerel that we get a free shot. However, because I did go for the shot, I now lost the shot on the Sagittario. So we loop on over, we get behind him again. The Sagittario at this point is kind of indecisive. He has to go for 2 people at once. He's way too slow in the end and we get a pretty easy shot. We miss it, however, and we just go vertical again. We don't have to stick instantly. We just have to keep our energy up and make sure that his balls are drained. And that's exactly what we did. Mackerel comes in, very easy shot now that he's very slow. We basically killed this guy by just flying behind him. He gets sent to the Shadow Realm with a good burst of 50 kills. And that is basically the Hunter. You want to pick your fights. Most of the enemies that you run into, you're kind of helpless against. When you get fully down tier, however, this thing becomes a bit of a menace. The 8.3s and 8.0s that don't have afterburners, don't have missiles, and just the old 8.0s as well, they can't really touch you. It's a very, very strong plane against the vehicles that can't catch it. The vehicles that don't have enough engine power. And the issue is, again, the compression. This is a plane that you can't really balance right now because it's either completely useless or it's virtually untouchable. Now, of course, against the F-86 and the CL Mark V and the MiG-17 and those kind of planes, it is decently balanced. The issue is that those planes are backed up by other vehicles that make it unbalanced. The Sabres and the MiG-17s will very often catch you because of the afterburning planes, because of planes with missiles, and the entire sandbox is not balanced around planes like this. Before, this thing was a powerhouse. Now, unfortunately, it's a bit of a shit brick. Now, the Hunter F6 at 9.3 is in a similar-ish boat. However, the performance of that engine is so much better. It basically negates all the issues that you have in an average game. Now, if you get a guy running your ass down, you're still going to get clapped. However, because you have so much power, you can actually stay in the fight a little bit and keep it at high speeds where this plane is actually pretty damn good. It becomes a bit of a frag bus, but at 9.3 you still run into those planes that basically hard counter you, and if they do want you dead, you're probably going to die. I'm simply saying that it's a lot better at simply fragging out. And alternatively, you could also fly the German Hunter, the Squadron Vehicle 1, the F-58 I believe it is. It has some missiles, it has some flares, and it becomes even better at it. However, at 9.7 the Hunter airframe starts to become a little bit iffy. Now, I still think that it's one of the better grinders, if you have a talisman on it, for example, because it's simply very good at fragging. Just be careful, you are not the last minute hero of your game. You're not going to be winning many 1v7s, especially at 9.7 as well. And it's a shame. The Hunters used to be great and now they are kind of forgotten. And I felt like it was time that I actually busted out the footage. That is from a good 5 months ago at this point. I've been sitting on this for a while. I'm not sure why I didn't drop it before. I think I kept getting rushed by patches and other stuff that I felt like I had to cover first. And now we're in the truly dead time of War Thunder. It's the first 2 months of the year, and January and February basically have no content. So expect a lot of older planes that I didn't feel like covering before because they just weren't tickling the right amount of hype. So expect stuff like the Key 96, the CL Mark 6, the Hornet, the 335 and vehicles like that. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.